Gentlemen, here we go. I know I'm late. Karen's out of town, and so it's just been a little more hectic than normal. Just me and Penelope, and so that's why I'm a little delayed. And you'll notice I already have my ice ready and stuff. I'm not messing around. This is gonna be a pretty quick one, and it's a pretty quick drink. Pretty easy, so that all makes sense. It's a lot like Alex, my opponent, real quick and easy. So, bazing. Oh, anyway, we can get started. I'll have the ingredients above my shoulder. It's just two ingredients, bourbon and Benedictine. This is a drink called the Frisco, or is it Frisco? I think it's Frisco. I caught about the first half of the pod, Eric, Nick, and BK, so I'm not fully caught up with it yet. But I can tell you, Nick, with a giant bottle of that Orgeat, you can use that in place of any simple syrup. Like if you decide you just want to feel like making an old fashioned, you can try it with Orgeat instead of traditional simple syrup and see how it tastes. Maybe you'll like it. You know, it's no problems when it comes to experimenting like that. So, all right, well, let's get started with the Frisco. Like I said, it's just two ingredients. It's just bourbon and Benedictine, and really it's essentially kind of an old-fashioned, basically, with your bourbon, but instead of simple syrup and bitters added to it, you just use Benedictine, which is kind of a combination. It's got like a honey kind of sweetness to it, but it's also got all those different herbal bitters added to it that gives it kind of this herbalness. So it's kind of, if you think about it, it's kind of got the botanics and the bitterness and the sweetness that an old fashioned would have with the bourbon, but it's just a little simpler, a little different. It's got its own flavor and stuff. So while I'm doing this, I do have a question, of course, from the one person who seems to want to ask me questions, which is fine. I don't mind if people want to or not. So, Brian asks, question one, will I allow Penelope to watch the Iowa State Okie State, or is that considered a 17 and older programming in our house? You know, it's going to surprise you, everybody, I'm sure, but Penelope prefers watching baseball to football, generally. And frankly, prefers reading a book or playing Animal Crossing to watching any sports. So, I don't think we have to worry about him watching Iowa State or Okie States at any point this year, probably, unless I just happen to have it on in the background. And then next question, speaking of which, big divisional game for me. Will either me or Alex run the table to win the well? I actually do think Alex has a shot at this. I really do. I don't know why he's 0-2 as well. It's weird, but because I feel like he has a good team. Like looking at the numbers and looking at the players. I don't know if he had a rough schedule to start or something or what. But so I do think Alex does have a shot at it. I don't know about my team. I could see myself not winning a single game this year, and I could see myself going on a massive streak too. I really, I don't know what to think at this point. So something to ponder while we make our drinks. So first, it's half an ounce of the Benedictine, which I really do hope people who have been following along or wanting to follow along did get the Benedictine, because you'll notice that it gets used quite a bit in the drinks this year, but it's just it's become one of my favorite liqueurs or cordials or whatever you want to call it to include in cocktails, just because it's incredibly versatile, and it's also just like it's just a very it's just the flavor I like, and it adds a lot of depth and character to just about any cocktail. So this will not be the last time you use Benedictine in a cocktail on this video series, and it certainly isn't the first. So, and then we will do 2 ounces of bourbon. I normally go with my Bullet 10-year-old Frontier whiskey, but I'm trying to get rid of this I bought this bottle when the pandemic first started. Looks like I'm gonna have to go to my bowl of bourbon because I spilled a little bit of this stuff. I bought that bottle of whiskey, the Maker's Mark, at the beginning of the pandemic. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Bubba's in Des Moines, the Southern restaurant, but they were selling bottles of booze at the start of the pandemic just to like kind of get by, I guess. And so this is the Maker's Mark Private Select, where the company that bought it, the Bubba's, were able to select their own specific stave to finish it in their barrel. So, but I just, as you saw, I had barely any left, so I just wanted to get rid of it. So I'll mix it into this cocktail. It's a little higher proof, so a little stronger drink, no big deal. You will stir this on ice a little bit, depending on, again, how you like your drink. And once that's finished, pour it into a nice cocktail glass with a big ol' ice cube or a bunch of little ice cubes if that's all you got. Garnish with a lemon peel. It's another small thing, you know, I noticed like Pat making his own simple syrups. Little steps like that can really make your cocktails a lot different, unique, better, whatever you want to call it. Oh, it's so good. Just by doing little things like that, you know, you can make your own simple syrup and kind of, you know, you don't have to just mix sugar and water. You know, I make Demerara simple syrup using a little darker sugar. But you can mix in other spices, add a little bit of cinnamon, make it like a cinnamon sugar simple syrup or anise spice, you know, like just, especially if you bake or your spouse bakes a lot, you'll probably have a lot of interesting spices you can add. And maybe you'll discover a blend of simple syrup that you really like in old fashions, for instance, you know. And it's cheap, way cheaper than buying store-bought simple syrup. But it goes with everything. I make my own bitters. It's kind of the same thing. You can start doing it yourself, and you just need a bottle of Everclear and a random bunch of like tree bark and weird hippie spices and shit, and you can make your own bitters or tonic syrups and stuff. And it's just a fun way to customize your cocktails. And then just like using fresh fruit juice, fresh citrus juice, and fresh peels to garnish, it just adds just a little bit to your cocktails, and it's really not expensive or difficult. So all right, well, here's to another week. I'll be a little rushed. Hopefully I can come out on top this week and actually have a victory, but if not, I'm gonna ride this team to hell, damn it. Cheers, gentlemen, to another week.